Running completely saved my life, and I'm not exaggerating for views or a clickbait title. I really don't know if I'd be around without running, and it came just at the right time, I think, to pull me out of a very dark place. My name's Reese Jones. I'm an ultra runner. I've been running for the past 10 years, on and off, but more consistently the last 3.5 to 4 years. And I've done a couple things like run 10 marathons in 10 days, set a couple course records at ultra races. And running has been the thing that pulled me, again, out of a really dark place. High school was not enjoyable for me at all. I had good grades, I had good friends. I didn't really have teachers I had problems with or bullies or anything like that. Excuse me. I think the thing I hated about high school is I felt like it was monotonous and I didn't understand how what I was learning was going to help me after school. And I'd always been pretty like future forward thinking and wanting to do something that, I don't know, had an impact. And school just felt like, it didn't feel like it had an impact. Nothing against people who enjoy school, but I left high school the first month of my senior year, and I tried college for half a semester. At some point after that, wasn't really my thing. And I just, to be frank, was incredibly depressed and suicidal. And I had spent a week in a hospital because of suicidal ideation and stuff like that. And in that situation, I learned a lot about myself, met a lot of people who had a much worse life than me, and it kind of changed my perspective, but it didn't necessarily fix everything right away. And so as I started working more outside of high school, I was trying to figure out, like, because once I dropped out of high school and started working, it was like this high for a minute that was like, great, I'm finally out. And then I was like, oh, I still have issues I need to fix. And so I did 75 hard, which was really helpful in getting better and just getting into good routines. But what really helped me was reading David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, and his just expression of how, I'm going to say it worse than him, but like when you push yourself, you become better, or that's how you find out who you are, and there's this satisfaction. And it made sense with my story of like I didn't feel like I was really pushing myself. Yeah, I would go for a run or get a workout in or do some yoga, but like I really needed, I don't know, something else. And so when I read his book, Can't Hurt Me, and thought about running 100 miles and doing an ultra marathon, I started Googling for 100-mile races, and I found one that was in St. George, Utah. And so when I really started thinking about hundreds, it was January of 2020, so during COVID, and we kind of all had more time to do things. At least I did. And so I was like, I might have a lot of time to train for this. And I ran a half marathon in January, and then was like, well, I can do a half marathon. Let's see if I can do a 100-mile race, which is kind of a jump, right? It's like go from 13.1 miles to 100, but that's kind of how my mind works, a little bit extreme. And so after that, I was like, okay, like let's train for this 100-mile race. Let's take it very seriously. And what I didn't realize at the time was that this could be like a genuine path and potentially a career for me. But I was just starting to slowly feel better because I was working towards something. I was training. I was spending all my Saturday running and recovering. I was getting multiple workouts in a day, and I just felt like there was progress in some direction. What I've had to work on recently is making sure I'm not training to numb the things I'm feeling. But I mean, that's a story or a conversation for a different day. For me, I've really been working on trying to make sure I'm aware of my emotions and I'm not avoiding them through running and working out. But anyways, back to training for that first 100-mile race, I just felt like I was on a path. And when I got to that race, I only did, I think it was 60 miles, maybe 66 miles. And I was incredibly disappointed in myself. But after that, I was like I want to take this even more like serious, if that's the way to put it. Like I felt like I dedicated my whole like 8 months of training to that race, but after that I was like, what if I dedicated another year? Let's see what this would look like. And that was, really powerful for me, obviously. And now years later from that, 2020, we're now in 2024. I have set course records at ultras, done 10 marathons in 10 days, 550Ks in 5 days, all these different events. I did this 81-mile race in the Jupiter Sand Dunes in Florida, and I mean that was just a great event too. And to like keep diving into the level of impact, meeting all these friends and having these people that I would probably not know if I wasn't a runner, wasn't an ultra runner, and these people I'm meeting and I'm actually quite close with are like our relationships are so impactful on my life. And so obviously running is like I like dedicate all of this my life to running. There's a lot of other things in my life like my job or maybe family that maybe isn't necessarily impacted by running, but I would argue that because I'm so happy with running and I love that progress, it makes me want to work harder in the other areas of life. That's really how running changed my life, and it continues to change my life. And as I get older and run for longer, I have to watch and see what mindsets or perspectives I have that no longer fit and I need to change. But that's just part of the journey, right? Like Rome wasn't built in a day. And I'd say genuinely, right now, even though I'm struggling with getting my training in, I'm, still happy and couldn't be more grateful for running being a part of my life. That's a little bit about me and my story and why running's so important to me and how it changed my life. If you like running stories, running tips, tricks, racing plans, training, ideas, things like that, I post content very regularly on running, so hit that subscribe button. If not, that's okay too. I appreciate your time. I know it's valuable, and I hope to see you on the trail sometime soon. Peace!